fellow Toastmasters. I am very grateful that I was able to get an IT and the last minute Tristan to help us get this room set up for today. As you know, it's always very stressful, this hybrid. So we've got some very good news for our business section that we are going to only be in person. I've decided that it's either you can come into the VIC and enjoy the meeting like we did in the olden days, and if you can't, you can't. And I know some of you, it's ideal to be at home, but it's really difficult to do both. So that's what it is. If you're on vacation, enjoy your vacation. If you're working from home that day, then work from home. And those that are here, it's great to see you in person. I'd like to have you all recognize who's here in person, starting to my left, and they're going to walk around the room and introduce themselves.
Hello, it's Brian. How are you?
What's your name, please?
What?
I
Brian?
just said, Brian.
I didn't hear that, Brian. Okay, thank you, Brian.
Okay.
She's known you
Right.
for 20 years now.
I'm here, Ines, the grammarian for today. Hi, double hi. Julia.
So we are 4 in the room today present. And for our business section, I do have a few announcements. Number 1, on the topic of seeing each other face to face, let's get social. I don't know if you all have been checking your calendars, but 2019 Christmas party, that's the last time we had an official Toastmasters event. So we are having, and you will get from me an actual invitation, we are going to have a Horrigan event. It's going to be on Thursday, the 9th of September. It's going to start at 6 o'clock at night. All of this will be in the email. And it's going to be at a place called Das Schreiberhaus. It's a typical Viennese Horrigan in a beautiful area called Neustift am Walde. And there's a bus that takes you directly there. And you would get the bus. There's a couple different ways to get there, and you can Google it. And that would be either via Heiligenstadt or Nussdorfer Straße or the U1 to the U4. But it is a great place, and you can dress traditional if you want. We're going to have a abbreviated meeting, so there will be a bit of let's say, opening, a speech, and it'll be a way for us to finally be able to officially recognize the new members that joined us in 20 as well as 2021, and those that have left or will be leaving in 20 and 21. If they're still here from 20, but for 21. And on that note of leaving in 2021, unfortunately, I just heard through the grapevine that Julia is going to be leaving us, and within the next 2 weeks, so she won't be able to make it to the Horrigan evening. So I'm going to put her on the spot today and have her say some closing words to us all, because she has been such a dynamic member of this club. Because of Julia, she has brought such young energy, a lot of interns, JPOs. She introduced them to the club. She introduced them to do you remember we had the Toastmaster training for your career? So many people came from Julia, found out about our club and joined. That training was held by Maria and Tristan together. It was all last year. Some of you weren't there. It was great. So that's 2 things I'd like to say. Was the social event that Julia is leaving. So before we get into the program for today, because I am the Toastmaster of the day as well, I would like Julia to just come up here and just give me a table topic on your Toastmaster journey.
In her future.
In her future, what she's going to be doing. So here's Julia.
Hello, everyone. Looking down. I just wanted to say that I'm sad and excited to be leaving. I would actually be staying in Toastmasters, but at my new job that I'm going to start in September, they have very strict lunchtime hours. So perhaps after I make friends with my boss, I will come back virtually, but probably during the probation period, I will not. My time here has been amazing. I joined here 3 years ago when I was an intern, and through the guidance of Maria Teresa and as well of the companionship of everyone from the club, I have actually had an amazing time, and that's why I keep asking people to join. like nonstop. Everyone I tell, just come and join. So I do really like the open space to practice, to make mistakes, to be nervous, and just to try new things that you wouldn't feel comfortable in trying in another space. I have grown a lot. I guess you have seen it, how nervous I was at the beginning. I'm still a bit not perfect, but that comes also with time. And I like that Toastmasters keep being challenging. I finished actually just a bit with myself. I finished in May, my contract. And for the last 2 months, I was waiting for my work visa in London. So it was kind of nervous of here and there. And now I'm just rushing to prepare for the moving. So I'm sorry I have not attended more often, but it has been very stressful. And now slowly that I got my working visa last week, I'm slowly starting to say goodbye person by person. And it has been a very emotional and it's tough. But if I do promise this, if I'm not able to get my time to be here, I'm gonna join a Toastmasters in London, and I'll just keep being there and keep practicing and just joining the club from another side. I am very happy to have been here for the last 3 years of having very good friendships. And of course, if I come visit the UN, again, I will try to come on a Tuesday during lunchtime and just drop off as a guest. Yeah, those are my concluding remarks.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
So now I'm changing hats and I'm going to be your Toastmaster of the day. And if you are not speaking, I hear a little bit of background noise. Maria Teresa, mute yourself. Anyone who's not speaking, mute yourself and then unmute yourself when it's your turn to take control of the meeting.
Melanie, I'd like to mention something. May I?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to mention that Julia has been my mentee, and it has been such a pleasure watching her grow and develop. And one thing I think is worth mentioning, she finished the presentation mastery level in Pathways. And some of you I know are a little bit hesitant when you hear the word pathways. She did it. She's living proof that you can survive. And with that, I return control to you, Melanie.
Thank you, Maria Teresa. Thank you for mentioning that. I had it written down here that she finished level 1 presentation mastery, but completely slipped my mind. Yes, that is our business section. Moving on to our actual program for today, we are lucky that we are able to pull this off. And I'm still motivated and still very happy to be here in person. Happy to look up and see that there's a few of you on screen. I can see that Lily's here, Maria Teresa's here. I can see that Jessica was here. It says altogether 7 participants. I don't see you all until Julia, you can actually do where it says view, you can actually say gallery. Yeah, hit gallery,
Yeah.
1 down. Great, now I can see you all. That's so much better. And you can close that box there. So we're looking actually into this camera as well as a screen in front of us. So it's a bit of juggling again, like I said, but I'm happy about this program in that we have 1 prepared speech today. And looks like we're going to have table topics. But before I continue, I would like Maria Teresa, who's going to be the general evaluator, to introduce her evaluation team. Over to you, Maria Teresa.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the day. Fellow Toastmasters, I don't see any guests. Here comes the old energy. It's still good, and it's still enthusiastic. I love this club. So one of my first jobs as general evaluator is to introduce our grammarian for today. So I give the word now to Toastmaster Ines, who will, along with explaining what the grammarian does, will introduce her word of the day.
Fellow Toastmasters, Toastmaster of the day, Madam General Evaluator. As a grammarian, I will pay attention to the use of the English language, grammar being used, expressions, but also I will look at where are we putting, on which head we will put the grammarian crown. I have also a word of the day, paradigm. Maybe you have seen that in Easy Speak. The word paradigm comes actually from the scientist Thomas Kuhn, And he said it's a thought form. Originally, he used it from another word in the Greek language. And he said it's a way of thinking. It's a thought form, it's a new structure, it is everything which smells of innovation. So for the coming times, the coming period, the coming months, the coming years, it will be very important. We have gone silent. Have we gone silent? What I see there?
Can everyone hear us?
Can you hear it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So you can use the word paradigm in a combination with a paradigm shift. We need a new paradigm for economic development or for social development, you name it. You can be very creative with the words. And I would like to hand over now the microphone back to Maria Teresa, the general evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ines, for your word of the day. You know, English is my first language, but when I first learned German, I found it was important to learn the alphabet. Now, if I didn't know any better, I would think it would be paradigm, but it's not. It's paradigm. I encourage you all to use the word of the day. So we have somebody who has been absent for a while, but we're delighted to see him back. Brian, could you perhaps give us a brief introduction on what your function is as timer and show us those cards and let us know when you flash them?
Hello, Maria Teresa. I am the timer. And today I have green, yellow, and this is
Red.
orangish red, but it's red. For all those looking and want to argue, it is red. Today, Lily will be speaking and she'll get green at 5, yellow at 6, and red at 7. And we should have, we're going to have table topics, then we will have at, I'm trying to remember how we do this. We do it 1 minute green,
1.5.
1.5 yellow, and red at 2.
2. And
So-
should not be more than 2.
And 2 is going beyond. And then we will have, of course, Tristan will be evaluator. So at 2, you'll get green, 2.5 yellow, 3 red. So those are our timing parameters for the day. So moving on, I return back to you, Maria Teresa.
Thank you, Toastmaster Brian. It took me forever to remember that. I was always wondering, is it really 1 or 1.5? Thank you very much for clarifying the situation. I don't think there's any need to have anybody else explain what they're doing, unless Jessica, would you like to tell us what the Al counter does?
Thank you, Toastmaster Maria Teresa. Sure. I am the ah counter today, so I will be keeping track of all the filler words such as or whatever it might be, including myself, and I know I just used them. So I will report back at the end. Thank you, and back to you, Maria Teresa.
Thank you very much, Jessica. I know in some other clubs they call the ah counter the aha counter, which gives it a little bit of a zing, but I'm sure you're going to be watching us and listening careful. With that, I return control of the meeting back to our Toastmaster of the day and presiding officer, Toastmaster Melanie.
Thank you, Maria Teresa, and thank you for stepping up at the last minute to be our general evaluator today. I always appreciate it when you are the general evaluator because you have your eye on everything and you have a lot of institutional knowledge with this club and how people can step up to roles. So it's great that we all jump in at the last minute. It is still vacation time, and I foresee that September, when we go back to full face-to-face meetings, will be a whole new development with the club again. We'll have to get used to being here, and I really encourage you all to come into the building again. And I will pick up anybody at the gate 1, especially Jessica, who I know can only go in through the commie. On that, we have the privilege to have Lily, who is a very experienced Toastmaster, who's going to give a speech And I think it's called ALB, but I'm not going to give you too much information. I'm going to hand the control of the meeting and the explanation of Lily and maybe her pathway over to her evaluator today, our Toastmaster and immediate past president, Tristan, who's in his office right now. Tristan, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. Today, we will be listening to Lily, who is a very experienced speaker in our club and has been with the club for very long. Today, we will be listening to her second speech of the icebreaker. A few weeks ago, she gave us her first speech. She restarted the whole pathway experience, and she started on with the first speech. She listened to the feedback she received from that speech, and now will use that feedback and deliver a revised speech based on that feedback. And this completes my introduction of the objective of her speech today. I return the control to the Toastmaster of the Day.
So Lily, we're very excited and we're very lucky that you were able to be our speaker for today to keep this meeting moving. The actual attention should be on you now. Lily, please take control of the meeting and unmute yourself. We'll mute ourselves.
So let me just check the sound before we start the timing. Can you hear me well? Otherwise, I'll put my headpiece on. Okay, thank you very much. This is a follow-up on my icebreaker, and Anna was my evaluator and told me I should break up my story into separate episodes and projects. And it was the icebreaker that I gave in March, shortly after I came out of hospital and rehab. And it was a very spontaneous decision to give my icebreaker then. And guess what? Life happens. It's the same story over and over again. I jumped in because I'm a leader. I believe in learning by doing. And even though I know I haven't had enough time to prepare this presentation because I've got so much to share and so much is happening, I decided this is what I'm going to do. And I do see myself as a motivation trainer. So it's a part of that exercise. Do it yourself before you tell others to do it. I talked about a lot of areas of my life in my icebreaker, and I'm proud to tell you that because I bought a video camera for the club in 2012 when I was the president, we have recordings of our meetings, but that meeting was not due to my video camera purchase, but the fact that we put our recordings on our Easy Speak. So if you're really interested, you can look back and verify the information. As long as you're a member of our club, when you're an active member of our club, you can see the videos of the meetings that have taken place all the way back in history when they started. I just said I'm a leader and a communicator. Well, I've got certification to prove it. I'm a competent communicator, and I got that award in 2012. And then I became president of the club, and you might think I'm a good communicator, but I didn't give many speeches after that. I tended to get tied up in the administration and organization of the Toastmasters. And I'm still an active member of the executive committee. In 2018, I finally completed my competent leader. And actually, I thought I was a communicator and a leader before I even joined Toastmasters. And to a certain extent, even my communications trainer certificate was more a search for validation for what I was already doing rather than giving me the qualification, because I was, and I still do, a lot of communication and leadership in my various functions and projects. I'm not only a communicator and a leader, I'm a mother. I've got 5 sons. I'm a daughter. My mother passed away last week, and the funeral was yesterday, 10 o'clock in the morning in Melbourne, Australia. I'm so glad 3 of my 5 sons came over and shared the live stream of the funeral with me. I actually prepared a couple of photos that I wanted to share with you, and I'm just looking now. Yes. Okay, so back to my screen here and share the screen. Share this screen. Now, I don't know, do you see the photo or do you see the gallery? Oh, no, I can't see you.
We see a Word document with 2 links on it.
Okay, no, then I'll just close that again and go straight into the photo. So this is where I can't even do a practice run before. Okay, this is, do you see the photo? That's my mother. And she had a stroke and was found at home and went to hospital. And the day before, she saw her 6th great-grandson. And I'm just grateful for all the experiences that I can have. And actually, I was going to talk. This is my kids with me at the live stream at 2 o'clock in the morning. What I really wanted to talk about, oops, it's the other way, was when I first met Tristan at his farewell speech for David King. Now, I attracted Tristan's attention because I filmed that speech, which he didn't even realize at the time. But I would so much love to share and communicate about all of these other aspects. Now, so much of our life goes on privately. As I mentioned, our secure line on Easy Speak, our private videos on YouTube. I was so inspired by Tristan's sense of humor, and even more moved and inspired when he invited me for a cup of coffee when I offered the feedback. He asked me for feedback to his speech. And just 2 months later, he turned up at our Toastmasters meeting. Now, became a member, became Vice President, Public Relations, and President. And life happens, as we mentioned, and I didn't get around to posting anything on his farewell. I don't know if he's received it yet, so I won't say anything. I really want to say thank you to Tristan for joining our club, for making the room available, for contributing so much, for being my evaluator today. And you can please give me everything that I need to learn, because that's exactly what I'm doing this for, because we are learning from one another and learning by doing, and life happens and my time's up, and thank you very much.
Lily, thank you for sharing that very moving story about your mother. I know in this room, maybe except for Brian, there wasn't a dry eye. You touched us all. And I say that is a real Toastmaster spirit, to have gone through such a big family dramatic event and still show up here today and be our only speaker today. Thank you so much for leaning into this discomfort that you're going through and knowing that you can share with us, and we're with you. We've all lost a loved one, and it's been a tough last 2 years. So again, anyone who wants to do a speech from your heart, practice the week before, a day before. That's what Toastmasters is all about, getting up here and just sharing a part of yourself, because you've touched a lot of us today. So for those of you that are online, it's easier for you. Please take 1 minute, Brian will time us, to send just a little feedback to Lily via the chat privately to her. We can't do it in the room right here. And that would be wonderful if Lily got a little feedback now. She'll get the full evaluation, of course, from Tristan. So Brian, 1 minute. Did our computer die?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
You all can hear me. I forgot. You can hear me.
Quiet.
Thank you for those who can type fast and send something to Lily. And as you know, according to our little program today, we don't have a second speaker, but that doesn't stop us Toastmasters. We have something that you all love to do, especially Brian, and it's our table topics. And Tatiana will be our table topics master of the day. So I would like to hand the control over to Tatiana to walk us through what challenges she has for us today. Tatiana?
Thank you very much, dear dear President and the Toastmaster of the day. I appreciate your introduction and would like to maybe echo what the dear speech provider did today, reminding us about the change and the change which we always face in our lives, and the change we should adapt to and reflect on. And I have to admit that it is all about the season change which brought me into that mood. And I would like to offer today to all of us to consider that we are already at the end of summer, a very bright and hot season, the hottest of the year. I know that in some calendars, summer will still continue until the 20 something of September. But me being from Russia, for us, the summertime is coming to its end on the 30th of August. So today I would like to offer all of us to consider what every season is bringing to us and what are the associations of that change we have with every season we face throughout the year. And although I haven't found any notion about the change or the start of the season or the year in autumn. Usually the year starts either in winter or in spring, like in Japan. But for me, I have a very strong association with the start of the school year. And the school year starts in September. And I would like to offer this speech about what are the associations and the expectations you have from the start of the year, of school year, and the autumn itself, to one of the Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters present today, and maybe let it be Jessica. So the question is, what are your associations and feelings about the change which autumn, the beginning of the school year, brings?
Thank you so much, Table Topics Master Tatiana, for giving me the opportunity to answer this question. My feelings about the autumn are exactly what you said about the start of school. I love school. and I loved school as a child, so it was a very exciting time for me. Over the summer, I felt I would get a little bit bored staying at home and maybe not doing very much. So I looked forward to the weather getting cooler and starting new classes and meeting new friends. And I also like the winter months, so it gets me excited to start feeling the change in the weather. Especially since I started to ski, I learned how to ski pretty recently. Now I'm feeling that excitement again this year because it's not so hot anymore. So I'm already looking forward to snow and going to the mountains. So that's my association personally with the autumn season. That is all I could say about that. So back to you, Tatiana. Thank you.
Thank you. And I really appreciate your input and would like to offer the next season, the coldest season of the year. Maybe that's why it is the most joyful and full of artificial light season. Still, we like it. We like it for Christmas. We like it for snow, and we like it for maybe other reasons. It brings, again, a change in the temperature, the change in time and light available for us throughout the day. And I would really appreciate if the Toastmaster Ines would share her feelings and expectations and maybe memories from the change that winter brings to us and to her personally. Toastmaster Ines, please.
Fellow Toastmasters, Madam Table Topic Master Tatiana, winter is actually a very beautiful time. And it really helps me to get away from all the hustle and bustle outside. And it helps me to really get inside of me, to find out what I want out of winter, what I want out of life, what I want out of next year. And in 2021, the winter time, this is the goal I'm setting for myself, because I'm very curious what would happen in 2022. For myself, I see that winter is not only cold, it is something which is helping me to get ready for change, which is a theme of today, I guess, for today's meeting. It's the change for not only the next season, but for the coming years. I'm handing it over to you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Very bright introduction to the winter, actually my favorite season of the year, although it's cold, but being grown up in Siberia, I have to admit it's the most beautiful season for me, regardless the temperatures. And the next season, which traditionally was always associated with the beginning of the agriculture or harvest year, when we just plan what we can do and what we will have throughout the year in front of us. That's why in some countries that season is still associated with the beginning, with the new year. As I said, in Japan, it starts, the new year starts on the 1st of April. I hope I'm not mistaken. And for that, I would like to propose one of the living Toastmasters to speak. Julia, I think you would have many ideas about the new year and spring and the changes the spring brings to you and to all of us as a reflection of the paradigm of change. Thank you.
I'm not sure about you, but spring is great. Why? Because you know summer is coming. You're tired from the cold of the winter, the gray sky. You say ski season is over. It's not too cold. It's not too hot for being summer, but you see the grass, you see the little flowers like tempting you, like, we're gonna go out soon. And it's the best time of the year to travel. Why? Because it's not too hot. So you can visit the major cities in Europe. There's almost no tourists. And for me, spring is one of the favorite seasons. You travel a lot, you can start going to the mountains, the ice is melting, it's great. And for new beginnings, as Ines was saying, winter is the time where you're re-energizing, you're a bit social, you love the couch, you love Netflix, and all the time you're thinking, what's this, what I'm gonna do and have energy in spring. And then spring comes and you're re-energized and you can do anything you wanted. So for me, spring is an absolutely great time to start doing all the things I planned. It's not like January. In January, people say it's New Year's. Yes, I'm gonna start doing things in January. No. In January, you're still digesting Christmas dinner. The time that you actually get to do something is April. So spring is the best time of the year. What do you think?
Absolutely agree that it can be the best time of the year if you consider it through your lens, through your eyes, and your joy of seeing the new grass and new opportunities. Thank you for that great intervention. And now we come to the last topic and the last season, which is actually current season, and we will see it only in 3/4 of the year again. Maybe some of you would miss it, some of you would remember it with relief, but we still like summer for different reasons, and it is definitely bringing us a change. Either we become lazier or we are more active. We are definitely hotter in all senses, and for that I would like to ask the Toastmaster Zilla to reflect on her understanding and changes which that season brings.
I don't think Stella is here. She sent a message to the group. She couldn't get on.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry
she's
about
in
that. So then maybe who I don't see everyone, and maybe Brian, please.
Okay.
Apologies.
No.
Definitely hot for the summer. Yes, you have to remove the badge at least.
Oh, your time. Okay. Okay. Ready? Well, fellow Toastmasters, we're going to talk about summer. Summer has been interesting the last summers in Austria because it has been strangely hot, strangely humid, and this year strangely filled with thunderstorms and rain. Actually, I like summer. The one thing I always liked here in Vienna was the long days. But over the years, I've been a little bit tired of such long days. But it's an interesting change because when you live long days, you know you have to live with short days in winter. But summer is an interesting time. The river, go to the river and swim and enjoy the water, enjoy the green, enjoy the bugs that bite you. But it is a time when things slow down, and most of the time you end up going on holidays and enjoying things. So I've always really liked summer, but as I've gotten older, I've become more and more engaged with autumn as my favorite season because of the weather. It's not so hot. But I would say when I first came to Austria, the milder summer compared to East Coast, the United States, was a respite. So I'm happy with summer here. And I hope to have a few more summers here before I leave. Okay.
Fellow Toastmaster Brian, thank you very much for your reflection on the change and the feelings the season of summer brings to us. And all of you might have considered that that's it. We have 4 seasons, we have reflected on all of those, But I would like to bring to the table the very, very last topic of intermediary season, which maybe brings us additional summer feeling or just illusion of it. In English, I think it's called Indian summer, l'été indien in French, or Alt Weibersommer. Sorry for my German in German language. And we all know that it is coming in September as a kind of 2-3 weeks or 1 month period of time when we still feel the flavor of summer and we are getting into the colder season. And it's again bringing us a change. And this change is not so dramatic, and it's exactly the transition change. And for that, I would like to invite the Toastmaster Tristan to reflect on what kind of feelings he have about the change that very short, unrecognized season gives all of us, or to him personally, especially this year or this time when he's, as far as I understood, leaving us and the club for good. Thank you. The control is yours.
Thank you, Madam Table Topic Master, fellow Toastmaster. The Indian summer. That's the time of the year when you're actually tired of the hot summer. You've been on vacation, like I've just been, coming back from Spain, where I had 45 degrees in Cordoba, an amazing experience, a great family time. We went on the beach, we saw beautiful sights in Spain. But after 3 weeks of vacation, I'm happy to come back at the end of the summer to experience the cooler time that we have right now, and that will bring us in the Indian summer. The Indian summer is the time of the year when you come back from vacation, school will soon start, people will change job. We are moving usually and taking position during that time of the year. It's a period of change. It's a great period to reassess what you're doing and what you want to do in life. As much as I like Jessica, as much as I like Ines, as much as I like Julia, as much as I like Brian, as much as I like all 4 seasons, what makes them so great is we're looking forward to each of them, but at the end of each of them, we're very happy to go to the next one. And we are also fortunate to live in a place on this planet where we have 4 seasons. And actually, it makes a huge difference in our spirits and in our moral. So just enjoy every single one of them and have a great Indian summer.
Hello, Toastmasters. Toastmaster Tristan, thank you for reminding us about the great privilege we have of having all the seasons, not only 4, but maybe all 5 of them. And I'm really impressed by the way all of you presented those seasons and the changes they're bringing. And I'm really looking forward to each and every one of those to experience and to enjoy that change, which I have to admit I'm not very much happy about, but I'm kind of adapting to the change, which is the way to live and the way to grow. Fellow Toastmasters, I appreciate your attention, and I return the control of the meeting to the Toastmaster of the day, Melanie.
Thank you, Tatiana. That was a very fitting table topic discussion today. And as you know, you can send your vote for the best speech to Julia. She's going to be checking in her phone. She's got the private chat on. So send it to her. And we in the room are just going to use the old fashioned way. We're going to put a name. And maybe it's okay if I review again who was what. Jessica was our first speaker. She talked about the autumn in school. Then Inez was winter. Julia was spring. Brian was summer, and Tristan was the Indian summer, or the Alt Vibe summer. That concludes our table topic section. You'll have a minute to quickly send your name. Just write in here.
What are you writing?
Okay. None of your business. And And now I'm going to hand over the control of our meeting to Maria Teresa, who's going to open up the evaluation section. We'll give it to you, Leah. So Maria Teresa, if you could unmute yourself and, oh, there you are, you're back again. And let us have a evaluation section start. Control is yours, Maria Teresa.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests. We don't have any guests. Why am I saying that? I'm a creature of habits, but I have to watch myself. Just like you, part of my evaluation team, have been watching things. You've been paying attention. You've had your ears like this, waiting to catch things that we might not be doing right. We're not calling your attention to it to make you nervous or embarrassed or feel anything other than, I don't know, I could do it better. This is the point of an evaluation. You can do it better. So it's my great pleasure and actually kind of bittersweet seeing our Toastmaster Tristan, perhaps in one of his last roles in the club, boo-hoo, 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 who is going to be evaluating the prepared speech of Toastmaster Lily. Toastmaster Tristan, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmaster, honored Maria Teresa. Well, Lily, you really conveyed a special moment for you and your family. So first, please accept my and our club's members' condolence for the passing of your mother. Losing an immediate parent is it's quite an experience, and I've experienced the same as you, and those who have can attest. It's a challenging period, and it's a life moment. I really enjoyed when you shared the beautiful picture of your mother. I thought we could actually connect to you and to her, and I thought it was a very beautiful picture, and I can still have it clearly in my mind. Your speech really connected from an emotional point of view with all of you. And it was also nice to see how you family, with the picture of all of you sitting and watching the funeral remotely, we could also bond and connect to you. So clearly that part of your speech made it memorable and was full of emotion. Actually, I didn't see it coming. I did not see it coming from the start of your speech. And from a structure, like now, I remember 3 topics that you brought us to. You started with those video recording. Then you talk about speaking about the passing of your mother, which is an immediate news and stuff like this. And you moved on to actually how we met and how I joined the club. And maybe an advice, I would have kept one. And because they're clearly not at the same level. And I think you had a great message, and you could have maybe a thought of it, you could have a stick to that. From an organization point of view, we saw you reading notes somewhere below here. We saw you looking at a diploma or a certificate somewhere there. We saw you passing paper towards here. It looked authentic. It gave an authenticity to your speech, but maybe it doesn't give a slick perspective to it. But so just be mindful of it. And my final point, 2 couple of points I have for you, is I notice how expressive you are with your eyes. You're one of the most expressive person I've seen you as, and I invite you to look this on the recording, because you're really doing like this, you're clinking like this sometimes, you're doing like this at some time. So it actually supports quite well your message. So I noticed that one. And I think you really did a shortcut at the ending. I didn't really see the ending, and you noticed that yourself. So thank you for sharing this special moment for you and your family. I think the news is fresh, it just happened. It's going to be a long journey, and we're sorry for it. And we look we obviously look forward to hear from you, and because you have also several other messages to share with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Tristan. You almost moved me to tears in your evaluation, but you picked up on several important points. So I'm going to give the timer a little bit of time to get his notes together and mention that I also escaped the East Coast of the US. Philadelphia was my last home because of the hot, sticky summers. But what have I come to now? Hot, sticky summers, but at least there's some relief in the evening. So the next person who will be delivering a report in the evaluation section is our very capable timer for today, Toastmaster Brian. Can you hear how well we did or how we didn't do well with our timing?
Thank you, Toastmaster Maria Teresa. Today's timing. Let's first start with the speech. Lily's speech was 5 to 7 minutes. She was over 7 minutes, but 7 minutes and 17 seconds. We usually have plus 30, minus 30. So she was under the minimum of going over with 717. Now we move on to the table topics, and everyone was basically within that, although Julia was 59 seconds. So she was in Julia Beck, not Julia Bear. So she was 59 seconds. So we usually go 30 seconds to 230, the maximum range. So she was just about there. Now the rest of us, Inez was 123, Julia Vera was 128, I was 130, Tristan was 137. So we were right between 1 and 2 minutes. Now we move on to the evaluation, where it's 2 to 3 minutes with plus 30, minus 30, maximum range. And unfortunately, Tristan was not only beyond the range, but he was beyond the maximum with 3 minutes and 32 seconds. So he was just over the maximum. But it's a nice, very nice presentation. So those are our time, Maria Teresa.
Master Brian, for your concise and informative report. Next on our list of people to ask is Toastmaster Inez, who was today's grammarian. Toastmaster Inez, you have the word.
Thank you very much, Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters. You were all fabulous, fantastic, very creative in the use of your language. And I see that the word paradigm was used not once. I have not heard it. Interesting, because the table topics provided us quite a number of opportunities to do that. I was also not the one who, I was the one who also did not remember that. I see that the formulation handing over control of the meeting is always something which, you know, we are finding ourselves struggling with, including myself. It would be good to really get very fluent in how to make the transition from one session to the other. The grammarian crown is something which Maria Teresa had really also very much insisted, that she insisted that the grammarian also pays attention to this. And I see that sharing a part of yourself, that is the expression, which is something which Melanie put forward in the beginning of the meeting, and it was the formulation which was applicable to almost everything everybody shared today in the meeting. Congratulations, Melanie.
Oh, I got the crown.
You got the crown. And I'm handing control to you, Maria Teresa.
Thank you, Toastmaster Inez, but I must have lost something in translation. Did you award the grammarian's crown or not?
To me.
I did. And it went to Melanie, Toastmaster Melanie.
To Melanie, so be it.
Melanie.
So be it, so be it, so be it. So now the last of our reports is going to be given to us by Toastmaster Jessica, who has been trying to earn some money for our club activities. We used to have a little tiny piggy bank where you were penalized 10 cents if you made an ah, but the maximum was always €1. So Jessica, are we on track with our ahs and ums and unpleasantries?
Thank you, Toastmaster Maria Teresa. As the ah counter, or as might be known in other clubs as aha counter that you mentioned, I think we would have made a good sum of money today, unfortunately, or fortunately, including myself. I'll start with myself. I said at least 7 ums or ahs, so I need to work on that. Otherwise, Melanie said 2, Maria Teresa, you said 0, Yulia said 0, Lily had 0, Tristan had 5, Inez had 1, Brian had 2, and Tatiana, during your speech or your table topic session, you had quite a lot at the beginning. I stopped counting after 20. But then by the end, like the last 2 questions, you didn't have any. So I think it was just warming up. So maybe go back and watch and see how it changes. So you would have been the biggest donator at this meeting. Thank you. That's my report, and back to you, Maria Teresa.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jessica. Along with your reports, I loved your body language with the things like the 2, or what you did with your hands was fabulous. I appreciated that. So I think this is basically the end of everybody else's report. So it's time for me to deliver my own individual impressions of the meeting. This is very difficult doing a hybrid meeting. And I have the utmost respect for our Zoom master and Melanie and anybody who's involved with the technical end. It's very, very hard to come into a Toastmaster meeting where not just being prepared for the meeting, but having to set things up technically. Applause. My hat is off to you. You did a fabulous job, which of course meant we started late. But we only had 1 speaker, so I think we somehow were able to get a little bit maybe behind ourselves without any ominous consequences. There were a couple of other things that I picked up. Lily, I was so moved by your speech. I remember the speech you gave once about your mom several years ago, and that one moved me. And this one moved me even more. But please never, never apologize and say, I'm not prepared. A Toastmaster is not a paradigm of virtue in that respect. You don't necessarily have to be 100% honest. Just like I heard somebody say the word challenge. Somebody used to tell me often, say, Maria Teresa, they're not challenges, they're opportunities. See them as chances, not necessarily as obstacles, as hurdles. Julia, I will miss you immensely. You have a voice where you don't need any microphone or any added projection. And it's so lively and it's so vivid and it's so expressive. I truly will miss you, but maybe you might be able, well, we won't be able to now because we're not going to have any kind of Zoom meeting. I'm not happy about that, by the way. In any event, I also must praise Tatiana, who debuted as a table topic master. You did a fine job. I liked the fact that you prefaced the table topics. You sort of gave a little bit of an introduction, told us what you were going to tell us about, but didn't go overboard with a full-blown prepared speech. You also had nice transitions between your questions. You were obviously very well prepared. I think you were a great success as a table topics master, and I encourage you to do it again, not in the near future, because I would like to see you as a Toastmaster of the day soon, or a general evaluator. Just like Jessica, I'd like you to step out of your comfort zone and try something a little bit more, not challenging, getting out of your comfort zone. What else do I have to say? Madam Presiding Officer, Madam Toastmaster of the Day, ordinarily, I'd like to hear a little bit about the 3 separate parts of a Toastmaster meeting. I pasted our agenda into the chat that people would see 1, 2, 3. A little bit more elaboration, perhaps, although we're also profi, mäßig, I'm going into German, that we maybe don't need it, but actually it's your job to explain the structure of a Toastmaster meeting. Other than that, I thoroughly enjoyed myself. There were not many of us, but those who were here, I'm sure walk away with a really positive feeling about where this club is and where it's going. With that, I return control of the meeting to the Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Melanie.
Master Maria Teresa, and I do appreciate your feedback as always. And these hybrid meetings are so challenging that you forget all of the transitions and you think you have to work on the electronic side with our voices. And I actually came in the room at 11:45 with an IT specialist. So that's why the hybrid challenge, as far as the executive committee is concerned, Nicole's not here, she may be against this, but as of our next meeting, which will be the 14th of September, the Tuesday, we are going to be in person. So if you are not able to come into the building, there won't be a hybrid link. Let's just see how it goes for the first couple weeks. That's probably more in my business section. But as the Toastmaster of the day, I don't want to end this session without announcing the table topics winner. And because it's Julia's last meeting in person, I'd like her to come to take the control of the meeting, the floor, the camera, looking up, looking at us, and tell us who got the most votes for table topics. And I'd like her to say something before we close the meeting and I talk about business.
So as the winner for today, we have Tristan. And then this is my goodbye. I hope to see you one day. And if not, I do wish you the best of the best of the best for autumn, Brian's favorite season, and as well for keeping up with Toastmasters alive. And perhaps I see you in a competition some years, who knows?
Right. Thank you, Julia.
Thank you, Julia. I have to say, when I joined Toastmasters, I was a little bit nervous about giving my initial icebreaker speech, which is ridiculous. This is an icebreaker. And I remember at the time, Tom was the president, and he said to me, he said, well, I'll send you a few links. We actually film our meetings. I thought, why you film them? It's kind of creepy. And he says, yeah, we put them on YouTube. I said, anybody can see them? And he said, no, nobody sees them, only you if you have a direct link. And one of the first speeches that I listened to was Julia's. And I was so impressed with this young, dynamic girl who got up there and had this energy. And I thought I had energy. This one comes up and makes me look like old school. So Julia, I will miss your energy. You are not only the first introductory speech that I got to hear, icebreaker, you were there when we did the first table topics competition. And we stood together and we took a picture, and I got to hear you because I went second, and then I guess you were third or fourth. And I thought you were great then too. And I've always appreciated your energy. So don't change that. It's a trait that some people think, well, I'm getting older, I have to, just be a little bit more conservative and cut my hair, but stay the way you are. It's something that you miss these days. And you miss when you don't see people in person. Because if you were all here in person, some of you are just next door too. You can see this beautiful girl sitting next to us who has turned into quite a, I don't want to say young lady, but she's turned into a businesswoman now. She's going to be in London, and it's great. I'll come up and visit you in London. Give me an excuse. So over now to change my hat to your presiding officer for the day. The last thing I'd like to tell you about what's coming up one more time is keep free. You're going to get an invite tomorrow, the 9th of September, the Thursday. Like Jessica said, the money that we've collected with this club sits in a nice bank account. I can't tell you how much, but I made it a point to talk to Tom, who is our new treasurer, to let you all know all your drinks are being covered. So whether you're going to drink grape juice all night, or mineral water, or Leitungswasser, which is tap water, or the delicious wine made in the vineyards in the 19th district, it's on the Toastmasters, the VIC Toastmasters Club. Your food, you will actually go separately whenever you want to a buffet and help yourself. And again, it's a beautiful Horrigan. It has such a nice reputation. I think celebrities go there. There's films that were done there. And they just had last weekend, which would have been the Neustiftskirtag, but they couldn't do it officially where you'd line up on the streets and you had to have a reservation. So I saw online the rooms. We have a private room. We can be as loud as we want. And it would be the 9th, which is kind of an introduction again to being face-to-face. So we'll have a proper speech given by our presiding, our past president, Tristan, like Julia did today. Tristan will do in person. He knows about that. And other than that, it's just going to be an open evening to have fun. I wish you were going to be here for it, Julia. And then on the 14th of September, in person, no excuses. You all have to come in, okay? Have a wonderful afternoon. Go have some lunch and see you all on the 9th.
Melanie, I had a question. Was Alma there?
No, there's
No,
only 4
okay.
of us in the room. Again,
Okay,
in the
because
room
she had
with
signed up,
myself.
she had signed up to come. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Maybe she
fair
had-
enough.
Maybe her boss
Goodbye,
pulled her to a
Jessica.
meeting.
Goodbye, Tatiana. Good job. Julia,
Thank you.
I'm sad. I'm sad. I'm sad. Lily, I'm so glad you gave a speech. Give us more, okay?
You did it. Okay, you can shut down the computer.
Okay, goodbye.